he couldn't come down to register. Well, Money, please try and come down and register. Okay. And then also, as we do this, we'll intermittently be taking you to the demonstration grounds with Nashoko and Mawina Egbeta to get the latest update as to how the crowd is massing up and then what we should be expecting when they formally start. Now, let me just say hi to a couple of people before I tell you what I have on the table. Evans Ibn Samba, Solly Evans as well. You've joined Ashadaya Adote. Also, Al Latif, Sonia Aklaku, you've joined us as well. Mercy Freeman, Bruce Foko, and then Juliana Belinda, Lottie Jones were happy. But let also tell you about who is winning Ghana's Most Beautiful, because it's a question we're putting to you. Because as you know, we've headlined it Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023. Now, will it be Kwatama from the Bono region, Selom from the Volta region, Adwanege from the Upper East region, Nura from the Northern region, or Na Ayele from the Greater Accra region? Now, make sure that you stay tuned this Sunday as you discover the answer that very day, the 8th of October, 2023 at 8 p.m. during the live event at the National Theatre right here in Accra, because tickets are also available and they are very much affordable, just 50 Ghana cedis. So we've pegged it at 50 Ghana cedis because we want you to come and then take a stash of them as well, a pack of them. Now, experience the evening's excitement with live performances from selected musicians and other artists of the day. Secure your tickets now and ensure you don't get to miss out. Ghana's Most Beautiful, Ghana's Beauty, Africa's Pride. And as always, it's brought to you by the CIMG Media Organization of the Year, Media Generals on TV3. And as we do that, please, let me just introduce our guest for the morning. I have representing the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, communicating for the ruling party. And very soon, you'll have a big announcement to make for us before the year closes. And Enoch Afuakwa is right here. How are you?
I'm good, Roland.
Great, yeah. Yeah, you're well dressed in your smock. I love it.
Yeah.
For the demo.
I thought you should have been red.
For the demo.
Oh, okay, not for the
Not
demo.
for the demo. Okay. You know, we are mourning two senior prominent members of our country who have joined our ancestors.
Okay.
The former First Lady of the Republic, Madam Teresa Akufo, and the former Mayor of Accra, the former Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram,
Sports Minister,
the longest serving Sports Minister, serving Council of State Member, Honorable Enoch Tay Mensah. At least these are prominent Ghanaians who have contributed immensely to the development of our country, and they are no more with us. Right. So certainly, as custom demands, we are in a week of mourning, and our prayers, our actions, our thoughts must be with them.
Fantastic. Which part of Ghana do you come from?
I'm an Ashanti.
Okay. You don't use red in morning?
From Adanse. I'm from Adanse.
La ilaha illallah. There's no other God except Allah.
Mashallah. I'm a descendant of Opeja Kotri Bonsere Free.
Fantastic. Well, you're welcome to the show.
He asked a simple question. You don't use red in morning.
Because you think your people, the ruling party would think that you are solidarity.
Oh no. You know, it coincides with the national state of mourning. We are mourning from yesterday to Sunday, and once they are in red, it symbolizes the mourning state of our country, not demonstrating. But once we go into the demonstration, you realize that there's nothing there to demonstrate about. It's only politics.
Afakwa is conflicting himself, but I'll forgive him. Bernard Mona, the distinguished Bernard Mona, the most experienced demonstrator in leading political limelight, former chair of the PNC, Bernard Mona. Good morning to you.
King of demonstrations.
The Che Guevara of our time.
Morning, sir.
And then Ibrahim Mutala Muhammad, former Deputy Trade Minister, currently Member of Parliament for Tamale Central right here. Used to be a former Member of Parliament of Nanton as well. And good morning to you.
Good morning. If you permit me, let me also add my voice to expressing our sincere condolences to the family of the former First Lady, most importantly, former President Kofo, and also the family of some of us, we consider him as a mentor, a father, and a teacher. When I went to Parliament, Honorable E.T. Mensah, and coincidentally, his son and I were in the law school together. Unfortunately, a young man who met his untimely death, he passed on after we finished with the course. And very interesting guy. When I went to Parliament, my first Parliament in the Chief Parliament as the MP for Nantong, he was one of the most experienced MPs with whom that we learnt a lot. He, Honorable Lecturer, the current Speaker, Honorable Bagbin, Honorable Kumbuo, Honorable Colin Dauda, and a whole lot of them. And I was very close, to be very honest, with Honorable E.T. Mensah. So we can only express our sincere condolences to the bereaved family.
Okay. All right. Kirsten Bisnab says, good morning to us, all of you. And then we have Emmanuel Ampoma says that the story about the boss 18 iPhone purchase to the board members is making him sick. Abubakar Iklilu, you said I should acknowledge you today. I have Amuda Hamidu, you're joining us from the US, and all of you joining us. Bold to Defend Group, they said they'll be at the demonstration, we'll be monitoring. And now let's tell you, we're here to discuss two main issues. The first is about the Electoral Commission, what our own findings at the end of the process yesterday, and then doing a general analysis of that registration process into 2024, when we have another onward registration for the general election. And then we'll look at the Occupy BOG as well. Now, we compiled the story. Judith Brown did that. Here's a compilation.
And tiredness. Now, this is the situation here on the premises of the Electoral Commission, where masses have gathered, some for hours since the start of day, just to get their voters' IDs. This is supposed to be the last day for the registration exercise, which has gone on for the past 21 days.
And people too are cheating. Like, if you are here before them, they'll just come and take over. I think they should extend their time because there are a lot of people who haven't done theirs.
People are bringing in protocols. People who come, they say they are from here. So there is a lot of frustration. That is why the line is not moving.
The Electoral Commission's office is a registration center for applicants in the 5 Ayawaso constituencies. Some disparities in the process sparked up tensions. Clearly, many have found the process stressful, and there seems to be the continuous resistance from some party executives on the mode on which the exercise has been conducted.
The way the EC earmarked this particular exercise, it didn't favor the registrant, I mean the youth who are 18 years and above. You need to commute distance to this place, especially we in Ayawaso, we are in the center of Greater Accra, and a lot of traffic. So if somebody is coming to register, assuming from Impassem, before he gets here, 2 hours is gone. You come and queue.
We're overwhelmed with the numbers. And most of the youth coming to don't have a lot of information about their biodata and even their common addresses.
The numbers here might seem overwhelming, but discussions with key executives here on the premises of the Electoral Commission suggest that these numbers are normal and they would be able to register them by end of day. Now, so whether or not there would be an extension of the voters' registration exercise, workers here say that they're yet to receive word from their authorities. Judith Brown, TV3 News, Electoral Commission, Accra.
Oh, it's quite interesting. And, somebody like Obrimpong Kaba on our stream is asking, why is it that even in our own story, there's every indication that a lot of people had not been registered by close of the time of the last day. And yet the EC says that, well, we're targeting 800,000 or 700,000, and as much as could be registered. We'll have to shift the others who could not be registered the next year.
Thank you. A very good morning to my senior members here. You know, they were all seniors in the student fraternity.
Okay. And you were a junior in the student fraternity.
We took over from them, so certainly, once we meet, it's the same members of the National Union of Ghana students who are meeting on this platform.
And so we are being ruled by What is of Ghana, National Union of Ghana students?
Oh, certainly. Certainly, we have most of our members in Honorable Anodon Prayer, Honorable Haruna.
All of you people. Looks.
Mustafa Hamid.
Mustafa Hamid.
And
all of them.
Yes.
Yes.
I see.
Dambuchi.
Dambuchi.
Yes, Dambuchi was
the
the
secretary.
secretary.
Was Alan part?
No.
No, under his.
But there were some who didn't hold.
Musa Dankwa has joined us. Musa Dankwa is executive director for the reputable Global Info Analytics. Good morning to you, Musa Dankwa. How are you?
Good morning. And I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me this morning.
Okay. Now let me go to the president's rep.
Yes. So Roland, let me use your platform to extend my deepest condolences to the family of Mr. J. Gufo, His Excellency, the second president in the Fourth Republic, for losing the first lady of the Second Republic, the second lady of the second president of the Fourth Republic. It was just sad to hear that our mother is no more, but by her age, we only pray that she finds eternal rest in the bosom of our Maker, judging from her contribution to national development, her standard and her demeanor. Everything tells that, in as much as she was the first lady of the Republic, she kept a low profile of herself, contributed immensely to national development, especially with mother and children. Her foundation that she established to promote such her intents and purposes, with her professional ethics and background as a professional midwife and all thereof. She did her best. You know, President Kufuor started as one of the successful presidents in the Fourth Republic. And as we say, behind every successful man is a successful woman. So certainly, her contribution towards the husband's success is immense. And we wish her well in the bosom of our Maker. Likewise, Honorable E.T. Mensah, he has seen it all through our governance processes. So we also wish the family of Mr. E.T. Mensah in the NDC our condolences. Roland, with the recently organized limited registration exercise, which is the mandate of the Electoral Commission to periodically update and compile the register of voters, it started well. We all had our issues with the limited registration exercise, but by and large, Ghanaians were successful in getting themselves registered. I saw a press release from the Electoral Commission stating that they are not extending the registration exercise, the 21-day registration exercise, but all those people, all those potential registrants who were in the queue as at 5 p.m. yesterday were given numbers and they were given certain opportunities to be registered today. And as a result of that, I believe that if you saw people in the queue, certainly it is not as if they are not going to be registered, but they have given them opportunity, not extending, but those in the queue have an opportunity to get themselves registered today. The numbers that they are telling us that they projected to register, I think 750,000 people or something, but they've ended up.
You heard 750, yeah? 700,000. That's what they said. First they said 800.
Yes. So certainly, I think the numbers they had as at close of registration yesterday is more than the number that they targeted. And judging that this is not the last registration exercise going to the 2024 elections, so we have another opportunity of going through. Our members of parliament are here. We have all seen some of the shortcomings in this limited registration exercises and the advocacy that has gone through this far. We implore them that they should assist the people of Ghana in doing their needful so that the challenges that bedevil this limited registration exercise that we're all talking about will not be seen in the next coming limited registration exercises. The EC said that we are going to do a continuous registration. I would have implored the EC to synchronize our database with the National Identification Authority that those who are 18 years will not spend even much time going through another form of registration. That once we have a national database, National Identification Authority database, we have a database of Ghanaians. And certainly, once we have that database, it should tell us those who have turned 18, and they should get through the system and register naturally, so that these queues, busing, transporting people transporting themselves, and all these material things that we are complaining about will not be seen in the coming seasons. The issue is about the Electoral Commission, and some politicians will try to link in government of the day, the New Patriotic Party as the ruling party, and all those things. Roland, like I mentioned, we are all players in the electoral process of our country. We also have interest. And going into the market of elections, it's these same people in the register who are going to determine the fate of political parties. Not only NDC, not only CPP, not only NPP. It is all political parties in this country who present candidates, whether parliamentary or presidential, to contest the 2024 general elections. And we as a party and political party, the business of a political party is to contest elections and win elections, political power. And we are resolute in doing same. And certainly, the issues raised, our people, we have served notice to the NDC who have boycotted IPAC that they should reconsider their decision and come back to IPAC so that we all can judge.
If they come to IPAC,
so that we all can judge. No, so that we all can judge and make a definite position, so that the EC can also make a consideration to our position as political parties, because we are major stakeholders in the political, the political limelight or the political system of our country. And certainly, once we make a definite position on it, and in terms of even the Parliament of Ghana, it is these two political parties that are represented in Parliament. So certainly, if we go through IPAC and make certain decisions and deliberations that we feel will inure to the benefit of Ghanaians as far as elections in this country are concerned. Certainly, the Electoral Commission, as a constitutionally mandated institution with certain level of autonomy, may heed to us and will see some light in what we propose and certainly go by it. But I am urging that the Electoral Commission must liaise with the National Identification Authority in running a continuous registration to people who have attained the age of 18 years naturally, so that this queuing, getting people as temporal officers of the Electoral Commission to sit as registration agents to register for some 3 weeks and take monies and all these things, it's cost to the state. And we can do our with it with the national database that we have. Thank you.
Mr. Musala Mohammed, at the end of the day, it looks like the governing party seem to be, having the posturing, we're all suffering. But you look at the centers and the sentiments we're picking on the ground. People in long queues, people frustrated. At the end of the day, it leads to them making the decision not to go through the hurdles. Is that not true?
Well, good morning. Good morning to my two brothers, and good morning to your cherished viewers, especially the good people of Tamale Central. Permit me to say that I would urge everybody to vote for Noura. Noura is my constituent, and I pray and hope that people vote for her. She is not only beautiful, she's intelligent, and she has demonstrated that throughout the auditioning. So I would just urge people to vote for. And I'm very convinced that my brothers will also do the same when they leave here. They would vote for Noura. The right to vote is enjoined by the 1992 Constitution.
Yeah.
That right is not determined by anybody, not even the president, not even Gin Mensa or Dr. Bosman Asari. That right is supposed to be enjoyed by every citizen of this country as long as you are up to the age of 18 and above and with sound mind. And Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution is very clear on this matter. For you to be able to enjoy this right, you must register. And the registration, as stated in Article 42, that every Ghanaian who is up to the age of 18 and above ought to be registered, has the right to be registered for the purposes of elections and referenda. Now, the institution that is clothed with the capacity to ensure the realization of this constitutional responsibility is the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission has the exclusive right to take people through the processes to have them registered. And it is not at the behest of the Electoral Commission to determine who they want to register and who they do not want to register. As long as you are up to the age of 18 and of sound mind and you are willing to register, the Electoral Commission has no option then to ensure that you register.
Ideally.
Good. I mean, he has no option. Once you are willing to register, the Electoral Commission, this constitutional provision, and if you come to look at Article 45, which also talks about this registration process and the Electoral Commission's capacity to do that, the Electoral Commission has no any other alternative than to ensure that people who are up to the age of 18 and above with sound mind, who are willing to register, are registered, except that the Electoral Commission would not want to respect this constitutional provision. Now, if you are the only body clothed with the capacity by law to ensure that people register so that they can fulfill this constitutional responsibility, and you renege in doing that, then you are not fit to be at the Electoral Commission. Now, my brother says that the NDC would want to make it appear as though it's an MPP thing. Of course. Jean Mensah is an activist of MPP. There is no doubt at all about that. Dr. Bosman Asare is an activist of NPP. As a matter of fact, I was with him in University of Ghana. I think he was my 2-year senior. I was at the psychology department, he was at the political science department. An activist of MPP. When he became the head of department of the political science department after completion, he was the TESCON patron. So he's an activist. You remember the other day he called onto this program when I said Jean Mensah was an activist of MPP, and he said no. Now Jean Mensah had never been. So it means that in the heart of his heart, he knew that it was morally wrong for you to appoint someone who is an activist of a political party to man the affairs of the Electoral Commission, which is supposed to be a neutral arbiter. So there's no question at all about that. Why are we where we are? Now, he talks about IPAC and that they have served notice that the NDC should come back to IPAC. I had a view which was different from the view of my political party. When we took the decision not to participate in any IPAC meetings, I felt that we could have avoided that. But as I sit today, and with the conduct of Jean Mensah and Bosman Asare and the Electoral Commission, I tend to feel that the NDC and the decision to boycott the IPAC, the NDC has been vindicated. And those who took that decision have been vindicated.
So, how can that be a good decision?
I'll tell you why. Now, all the political parties, except the NDC, attended an IPAC meeting. The Electoral Commission came out with this proposal to have this registration done, okay? To have this registration done at only Electoral Commission, district electoral offices. All the political parties, including the MPP, kicked against that proposal. Maybe you ask, how do I know? That same day, Jean Mensah held that press conference. Joy FM specifically interviewed one of the leaders of the political parties that attended the IPAC meeting. And the gentleman said he was speaking for all the political parties that attended the IPAC meeting. And that they kicked against the proposal to have this registration done only at the Electoral Commission district offices across the country. So they asked him whether the MPP, he said yes, the MPP was in support of the position all of us took. They interviewed one of the national executive officers of MPP, if I'm not mistaken, one of the deputy secretaries. And he said yes, they support that position. And they told the Electoral Commission that there was no way they were going to accept that. The Electoral Commission then informed them, after they kicked against this proposal, that they were going to come back to them after some deliberations, only for them to hold that press conference and stated that they were going to have all these things done at district offices of the Electoral Commission. So was there any respect given to the members of the political parties who attended IPAC? On that basis, the NDC is now vindicated for avoiding IPAC. Because if you go for IPAC and you are not respected, and the argument that is consistently made, that the Electoral Commission is an independent body, rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. The Electoral Commission cannot determine its budget for itself. The Electoral Commission cannot, hold on.
This is enshrined.
I'm saying that the framers of the Constitution themselves are aware that giving you that right is not absolute and you cannot use it arbitrarily. And that is the reason why the tools for you to execute the responsibilities, for which reason you think you have an absolute right, that tool must be given by another institution, another body. And that body is Parliament. That should tell you that you don't have that absolute right. Anytime it suits them, we are independent body. But anytime it doesn't suit them, Parliament is not acting responsibly to ensure that our CI that we bring to Parliament goes through. Now, the Electoral Commission haven't mentioned this constitutional provision. The Electoral Commission also came to Parliament for its own law. The CI was a law of the Electoral Commission. You can describe it that they came to Parliament. This is what we want to do. We want you to give us that legal backing for us to execute this responsibility as a mandate as stated in Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution and Article 45. And the CI 91 and 25 as amended, it was the laws of the Electoral Commission. What do these two laws say? They talk among others where the registration must be to ensure that people register at places which is convenient for them to have elections. We have never had any elections at Electoral Commission district offices. Regulation 2, yes, of CI 91. We have never had elections done in any EC's offices. Now, the MPP, the lack of principles, the unquestionable and principled position of the MPP, having supported all the political parties to kick against the position of the Electoral Commission to have this registration done only at district offices of the Electoral Commission. Within 48 hours, they were seen as unsolicited, lawyers and communicators for the Electoral Commission, defending the position which they all collectively, with the other political parties, kicked against. If people have principles, will they do that? Today, it has dawned on them that what we were agitating for and demanding that the registration be done at the the registration centers should have been respected. Today, they are crying. I have watched one of our colleagues who sat on TV and was lamenting. He spent about 30,000 Ghana cedis in this process. You see, when the child says that the mother will not sleep, certainly the child will also not sleep. The exercise, it's an African proverb. The exercise that the Electoral Commission engages in, if you have a target and then you went into the process, and as a result of your incompetence and lack of functioning machines, we had reports in my constituency the first day, only 5 people registered for the Tamale Metro. The second day, it moved to 50, and then you had the numbers increasing because they had to bring in an additional machine because the machines they brought initially were defective. Now, if you look at these complaints across the country, and for which reason there are teeming mass of the Ghanaian people who are qualified, they are 18 and above with sound mind, and they are supposed to be registered. And the Electoral Commission is supposed to register them. These people haven't registered. The Electoral Commission has taken an arrogant position. They are unwilling to extend the days. And the only argument they make is that, we have this thing that will be done before the election. People want to have their names registered now.
I think they haven't gotten the two views now. You disagree. Please note it down.
You are not.
You are saying
that the NPP is not principled.
You have never been.
Because I was just saying that you espouse a position that's almost
and only for you to change.
Now, Mr. Musa Dankwa.
Once you say that,
yes, please. You are a man of communication. So, Mr. Musa Dankwa, if you look at an analysis that the estimation that the EC has made, 1.3, they said they wanted 700,000. Then by day 15, they said they've gotten 600,000. So they're almost through. And so once they get to 700,000. But yesterday, we had tens of young people who were still waiting by closing time at most stations or most registration centers, so to speak. What does that tell you as a pollster or somebody who does research on the demographics of our voter population or generally the population? Please, can you unmute for me?
Oh. I think it's from your side. It's not here. It's from your side.
Please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Clearly. I can hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
Okay. I think EC first underestimated the number of people who will be eligible to register as voters. They first rely entirely on the number who attain 18 through the statistical services. They ignored the portion of population who are well over 18 and have not registered in the past election. So those people were left out. So their estimate that they got, I think, excludes a number of people who they should have counted as part of the population they were targeting. Now, based on that, their actual estimate would have been underestimated. Now, per our calculation, we expect about 12% of the voting population to be first-time voters. First-time voters. Now, if you add the element that may have already attained voting age and they haven't registered, that could be much higher. Now, what we saw in the current exercise is that quite a number of young people are enthusiastic about voting.
Yeah.
That is why you saw a huge number after the closing date trying to register. Even with the inconveniences of traveling between long distances, they were still keen in registering to vote. I don't think they are registering to vote for the assembly elections. They're actually targeting the 2024 elections. And it's an expectation that there will be higher turnout among first-time voters in 2024.
I heard a politically active person say that if you look at, or maybe the EC was surprised to have seen a lot of young people enthusiastically trooping to these centers. Do you think there's that underestimation that you point out is also because maybe perhaps they want to push the backlog of young people to next year instead of this year?
I mean, what is the sense of doing that? I really don't believe when you have the opportunity, get them to register, because globally it's been shown that young voters are difficult to take part in the democratic process. So once they've shown enthusiasm, get them on the register, encourage them to take part in the process of democracy. Why do you delay it when you have an opportunity? Say a bird in hand is worth two in bush.
Okay, what are the implications then, based on a number of people not having gotten the opportunity to register? Before I will come back later. What are the implications, Musa Dankwa?
You know, the implications are that some parties may be disadvantaged with regards to those who haven't registered, because the poll will show which party is doing well among first-time voters and which party is not doing well among first-time voters. I mean, for those who are doing well, they should get the data, and even those who are not doing well, and encourage everyone to register. Because at the moment, there's no manifesto. And once you have a manifesto that entices the young voters, if they're not on the register, how do you get them to vote? So it is the duty of every political party and even the EC to ensure that every voter who is eligible to vote can register to vote and be allowed to vote in 2024.
Bernard Mona, based on your estimation, what would you say has become the conclusion you have drawn? That the Electoral Commission says that it is acting independently and is taking the best interests for the electorate or the new voters, and so this or their position is right? I'm asking.
Well, because your eyes were still fixed on
Musa, because I was on the camera, sorry.
Permit me to also use the opportunity to commiserate with the families of President Kufuor, or Teresa Kufuor, so to speak, particularly the husband, President Kufuor, the children, and the entire family of Kufuor, and in particular the New Patriotic Party, and of course the entire nation of Ghana. It's evident that Madam Teresa Kufuor, as First Lady, probably was one of the most quiet First Ladies in our country's history. And it's evident also that she did not seem to have meddled herself in the job of the presidency. She was an isolated, more or less, minding her business type of woman. What we have seen in recent times of First Ladies is not the kind that we can say of Madam Teresa Kufuor. The First Ladies of now are seen to be eagerly grabbing properties. And sometimes when people even speak about them, it comes as those people must be picked up in Rambo style, put up in cells overnight just for daring to question the kind of acquisitions that are being made. And so on that score, Teresa Kufuor distinguished herself as a veritable stateswoman. And my condolences goes to the Kufuor family in particular. And I would wish that current First Ladies will look at the record of Madam...
Second Ladies now.
And Second Ladies will look at the record of Teresa Kufuor and review their activities and operations, because we are watching. Even in death, we shall judge them. E.T. Mensah played his part as a sports minister, as a mayor of Accra, as an MP, as Minister for Works and Housing, and what have you. But it cannot go without saying that he also had his downs. And I recall a story that was told to me by one of the NDC members, that when the country was returned to constitutional rule, the cadres in Parliament wanted EC to be appointed a minister, particularly Minister for Youth and Sports. And the Speaker of Parliament, D.F. Hannan, when the list of ministers were announced, the MPs got very angry and agitated and ran to the Speaker of Parliament saying that E.T.'s name had not come. And so in their aggression and attack, the Speaker took the list again of the ministers that were appointed. Then they said they have checked through the list, they've not seen E.T. because everybody knows E.T. Mensah. And the Speaker asked them, what is the full meaning of E.T.? And they were all sitting down. Then he said, there is Enoch Tay Mensah. And the E.T. represents Enoch Tay Mensah. So all these MPs who had gone there in fury realized that their research was poor, they were not adequately informed, and they went back in their shame. That is to tell you the level to which even members of the party wanted some people to occupy certain positions. Black Rasta said it, and let's say, if they did good for our society, let them be received heavenly. But if they also did bad and contributed to the mess that we are finding today, let them be judged harshly. I wish the families strongly in their bereavement. Personally, I will take steps to go there, to go and visit the families of President Kufuor and also E.T. Mensah, and to show my personal commiserations to them. Now to this sad spectacle that is taking place within our Electoral Commission. Aren't you sad yourself?
I had a lot of report from Tema West.
Aren't you sad?
Well, because they were, so for all those who were in Sakumo next day, they had to go to main Tema, Mexico, the Mexico Center.
People within Greater Accra sometimes will have to travel 3-4 hours to locate a registration center. And you think that this is conscionable. You think this is conscionable, that an electoral institution that is to make available and accessible registration centers so that persons can participate in the processes, decide to take away every logic and to engage in an egoistic, I don't know whether they wanted to show muscle and useless muscle. Look, who has not spoken about the dangers of denying people their right to get onto the voters' register? Who has not spoken in this country? Traditional authority has spoken, civil society authority has spoken, political parties have spoken. Who hasn't spoken? You, even on this platform, on many occasions, you have spoken. Jean Mensah-led Electoral Commission cannot be intelligent, in fact, they are not near that, than all those people who have spoken about the need to expand the voters' register.
CDD, all of them.
Everybody has spoken. And they have spoken based on research. I tell you, common rationalization will tell you that every year, about 600 students from SHS get completed. So if you did not do limited...
1,000.
Yes, 600,000. If you did not complete, if you did not do voter registration
That year
in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023,
over 2 million.
Clearly,
6,318.
you understand? Clearly, these are those who have gone to school. You are yet to add those who, for one reason or the other, could not go to school.
Or did not register 2020.
So, evidently, you are talking about 3 million people. That's a cursory analysis of the situation. You don't need any statistics to be able to do this. Just school records will tell you. So when you come and tell us your target is 700 to 800,000 people, it means that you have thrown logic to the dustbin. It means you are not ready. In fact, you are a spent force. You have caused financial loss to the state because you have deployed resources that will not achieve maximum effect but minimal effect. These are the things that the internal audit unit should be investigating to find out value for money. So, Dr. Eric Osai Oduro, this is the place you should check. The monies that Parliament voted for the EC to conduct this exercise, go and check whether any of that money will be left. And check whether we have been able to exact maximum record from it. Then you will know that at the end of the day, maybe some money sharing formula has been instituted at the EC so that they will not spend the money on what needs to be done so that it will go into their pockets. That is my belief now. Because the EC doesn't appear to be excited about people getting onto the voters register. Because when people are getting onto the voters register, I think the EC become uneasy. Why? Why? You go to places like Boku. You are told the challenges. In some places, MPs wrote to you to tell you that because of water and other issues, you cannot ask people to come from this side. But it's better for EC officials to go to that part and stay there for the period of 3 weeks to exact this exercise. The EC wrote to them and told them that they should wait for 2024. The arrogance alone can lead to a revulsion. And that is a threat to our democracy. National Security Minister, you don't find this as a threat to the democracy? You don't see this as a security threat? The conduct of officials of state. You know, I don't know what we get about this. But I'm very sad. Because, you see, it's very difficult to say. Because I've listened to the director of elections of the NPP, Evans Nimako, who has come to chastise this matter. To tell the EC that, look, they will prefer registrations at the electoral areas. And you have 6,272 electoral areas. Do that so that at least, if you were doing this for the purposes of what we call it, assembly elections, why are you not getting to the electoral list? Do you know how much any person interested in assembly elections had to spend to get people to go and register? Why is the EC burdening people when the state has devoted resources for an exercise that necessarily must be free? People now are paying exorbitantly in order to obtain a voter ID card that is free.
Enoch, how do we correct this? Because it looks like the EC is not listening. Yeah,
Roland, before I suggest alternatives, let me make a quick rebuttal to what Honorable Mutala said with regards to the NPP not being principled and unconscionable. The NPP is conscionable, the NPP is principled. In fact, as he rightly mentioned and stated clearly that it is the business of the Electoral Commission and there is no strong force behind the Electoral Commission conducting its business, stating that they are not at IPAC, but he can state emphatically clear that the New Patriotic Party objected to the Electoral Commission conducting the exercises in its offices. Again, he mentioned that the Deputy General Secretary also stated clearly our displeasure with regards to the conduct of the Electoral Commission with regards to that matter. But similarly to that, connecting the dots, the Electoral Commission has a constitutional mandate under Article 47 of our Constitution. That grants the Electoral Commission the constitutional autonomy as far as the functions of the Electoral Commission are concerned. In terms of financial independence, they have not, because of checks and balances. Parliament must approve of their budget.
You're wrong.
Oh, I'm coming. No, let me finish. In terms of the functions, The Constitution and Article 46 states that, except as provided in this Constitution or in any other law, not inconsistent with this Constitution, in the performance of its functions, the Electoral Commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority. Being that it may, under Article 51 of this same Constitution, the Electoral Commission must conduct its registration based on a constitutional instrument, a CI, passed. And the CI 91 was passed by Parliament, giving the Electoral Commission the power to allocate a registration center based on their own discretion, being it accessible and all those parameters or elements enshrined in that. In this state, we as a political party, in the conduct of our business as a political party in winning political power, we're obliged, having made our position, and the Electoral Commission stating it stands clear in its conduct of its business per Article 47, we're obliged to support the cause and do as they are doing. It doesn't make us unprincipled because the Electoral Commission were conducting their business based on the Constitution. Okay. In as much as we raised issues with that, doesn't make us unprincipled. We are principled as a party because we are focused and doing business as a political party, positioning ourselves to win political power.
This registration exercise, did you get well-meaning leaders within the space, whether they are MPs or party heads, etc., who, of course, were told by Bosman Asare should support the system in terms of the registration process, complaining about the difficulties, and what were they?
The difficulties have been raised, even on your platform. You showed us excerpts of your videos and your interviews with even potential or prospective registrants, stating their cases as to the frustrations that they were going through with regards to getting themselves registered, staying in long queues and the likes. We are not saying it did not happen.
Okay, I know that.
It did happen.
So how can you say then that you just agree with the Electoral Commission because you read articles that, of course, grounds the independence of the Constitution?
Absolutely.
Well from
we have raised issues. Yeah. The constitutional body says that.
Cool.
No, the constitutional body says that. Can we stop the Electoral Commission from doing so? It is only the court that can stop the Electoral Commission.
You don't seem to be worried.
No, it is only the It is only the court, the Supreme Court, through its enforcement powers and Article 130.
You are playing ostrich.
No, it's not ostrich. It's only the Supreme Court that can direct per its enforcement jurisdiction the Electoral Commission to do otherwise, because the laws are in their favor. No, certainly we raised issues. That is why we are calling you back. That come back to IPAC so that we have a tensile strength as political parties
but here lies
to be able to advocate our cases.
The NDC was not at IPAC, but they are also raising the same issues, and they are saying because you are the ruling party. Apart from what they will say, everybody will say that is the opposition party, but your voice and your position vehemently, well-grounded, will hold sway.
It tells you that the Electoral Commission has really asserted their independence.
Which independence?
The ruling party made the ruling party made its case at IPAC. We've made our case public.
Okay.
By Electoral Commission, per its independence, run the affairs of the Electoral Commission as dictated to by their laws and their prescriptions.
Mr. Mutala, in the next 5 minutes...
so certainly, I was stating that Honorable Mutala's position that we are not principled and unconscionable.
You've debunked
that. It's not right and it's not true.
As a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, you've even made your case worse.
Sampi Yali says the EC does not respect anybody, including Parliament. Yes. Remember, in the heat of things, the EC set up an advisory committee of eminent persons, including Nana Nketia of Sekendi, and we know Atudati. That will be the last time around.
Look, it has even made his case worse. Perhaps he wasn't listening to me. I can understand. The economic mess is not leaving even some of them.
What has that got to do with
the only people who work within the four walls of the Flagstaff House, they don't feel the brand of the mess that is created. So myself and my brother were in the same soup. Why? I said that the NPP kicked against the proposal.
At IPAC.
At IPAC. Only for them, within 48 hours, defending the decision of the EC, leading members of your party, defended the decision of the EC. In fact, on this program,
of official communication.
Hold on, please. I'm saying that when you have,
not official,
hold on. When you have a national executive officer saying that what the EC said, there is nothing wrong with that, isn't that enough an official communication? On this program, you have spokespersons. You are here speaking for NPP. I'm here speaking for NDC. If I make any statement that is not in line with the direction of the NDC as a responsible political party would either ask me to retract it or they would issue a statement. You have your communicators who have granted interviews, sat on talk show programs, and defended the EC. That is the unprincipled nature I'm talking about. You see, what the Electoral Commission does is that they do what I describe as cartoon scenario reality.
What?
Cartoon scenario reality.
Being what?
They have IPAC, we invite you at IPAC, you come there, you speak big English. Fantastic ideas. But your ideas will not be taken anyway. So it doesn't even make sense participating in a meeting where you know, ab initio, that whatever suggestion you make wouldn't hold sway. Because the Electoral Commission has made up its mind. And in any case, the reason why we have the problems we have today is because the Electoral Commission is infiltrated by party activists. I have just told you, Jean Mensa was and is still an activist of the NPP. Dr. Bosman Asari, an activist of NPP. Sirubwa, who doesn't know, an activist of the NPP. To the extent that Dr. Bosman Asari himself was... Hold on. To the extent... Please. The gentleman... Peter Apiahene. The gentleman who was
I mean, that's
sorry.
Clear.
Yes, I'm saying that. Yes, an activist. So the reason why...
You see, this is a national platform. And saying the Electoral Commissioner, Madam Jean Mensa, is an activist of the Patriotic Party. Can Honorable Mutala prove with a membership ID card or any sort to say that she's an activist?
Can I answer your question?
Yeah, you can answer my question.
Roland, on this program,
have to go to Mr. Dankwa.
Before the Supreme, can I answer your question? Can I answer your question? Can I answer your question? Before the Supreme Court sat on the petition, the election petitions, I sat on this program and I said that Jean Mensa was a family relation to the First Lady. Kweku Baku Jr.
But we are related.
Hold on.
We are Ghanaians.
Hold on, please. I'm driving at a point. Kweku Baku Jr., the person who is virtually a spokesperson to your party. Kweku Baku Jr. sat on Good Morning Ghana. He
has not spoken
for them any longer. Okay, I dare not. Say what do they call it?
I don't know what you're intending.
It's smelling now. The new pump. A bon. Kweku Baku sat on Good Morning Ghana, and on this file and said that Mutala was lying. There's no any family connection between Jean Mensa and Rebecca Akufo-Addo, only for it to be proven in court. He has still not apologized to me. I am saying that the fact that you guys could defend and say that they had no family relations, if you knew there was nothing wrong with having a family person appointed as Electoral Commissioner, if you knew there was nothing wrong with that, why were you desperately lying and defending that, saying that it wasn't true, only for it to be proven in an open court that they had family ties, direct family relation? Jean Mensa, I have just told you, Dr. Bosman Asari was not only just a student and a senior of mine, an activist, and he didn't stop there. He became a TESCON patron as the head of the political science department. Did you attend any
of the meeting? Because is there something
every TESCON, I'm saying that TESCON on your TESCON patrons are known, 10 patrons on campus are known. They can't appoint a TESCON patron who is an NDC person. You must be a standing member of the MPP, an activist of the party, believes in the ideologies of the party, even if those ideologies are sending it down the drain. So he has never denied that. So I'm saying that if you have party activists appointed and family members appointed to man the affairs of the Electoral Commission, naturally they would only come to do what you want them to do. And Jean Mensa has demonstrated that time and again.
Mr. Musa Dankwa,
the fact of
when President Nana asked Jean Mensa to jump, she will ask Jean Mensa will ask, how high should I jump?
No, you have nothing to show that she's an activist.
She is.
What do you foresee to be the huge backlog problem the EC could face, knowing that in 2020, and all of us can recall, because of COVID, so-called, the borders were closed across Ghana. People who were in the neighboring countries and were Ghanaians could not come in to vote. There were even restrictions within periods or register. And then we also have the Electoral Commission not having undertaken the registration, I think, for 2 years. This is the third year they are now doing it. So what do you foresee to be the pressure for next year, particularly when it is an election year and the Electoral Commission is taking these positions as far as the organization of the registration?
Right. I think we have a number of issues here. EC is still adamant that they will continue to register at certain locations and not making it widespread. So the issues that we've been complaining about this time around will never go away. Even if they do it as an ongoing registration, people have to still travel long distances to go and register. That costs money. For me, that is the biggest problem. Now, but it's also refreshing to hear that they will do it as an ongoing process, which if they had kind of a bit decentralized it much more, would have made it a lot easier for people to register and vote. But believe me, in 2020, there will be a lot more pressure because there will be kids that will be attaining the age of 18 years. I don't know when EC's last registration would be. Would it be July, August, September? At that time, young voters will still be able to register to vote. So if they open the process continuously, then we expect the young people to register and vote. But it will cost more money than if they had centralized it and done it twice or so in a year.
For example, Chief Mante is saying, Roland, let's be frank, the NPP is seriously in bed with the Electoral Commission. Just look at the appointees by the president. And we've also had some of these expressions being made because, for example, Dr. Apiahini clearly, you look at his background, his communication publicly, is a known activist of the ruling party. Does he then, what do these tendencies breed? I mean, visibly.
Are you speaking to me, Roland?
Yes, you, as a pollster and researcher.
You see, I mean, if I was in the shoes of the president, I would avoid making such a point, to be very honest with you. I'm somebody who believes in good governance from a corporate governance point of view, and any semblance of bias must be removed. I have, on a number of occasions, stepped down from certain positions because I felt my position could be untenable. I stood down. And some of these people accepting this position must also ask themselves these questions. How would they be seen in the eyes of the general public? Because EC must be seen to be neutral. We're not saying that they should be, I mean, you are a person, you vote, you have a vote. But in exercising your role as an EC commissioner, me, if I was in that position, I wouldn't take those appointments. I would never take them because I know if I'm an NDC activist, why should I take position on the EC? I wouldn't do that.
Do you think the role played by Jim Mensah as executive director for the IEA, having been related to the founder, Dr. Charles Mensah, who, of course, I reported on many other projects in the Kufuor administration, very close to the former president, etc. You look at those linkages, she shouldn't have taken the appointment as well.
Let me put it this way. From accounting point, I think in the early part of 2020, there was FRS 5, which we call financial reporting standards, which talks about related party transactions. Once you are auditing and you find a transaction that has parties that are related, you have to be double checking and double crossing your facts. And this is the base on which I wouldn't have, accepted or allow somebody who is linked anyhow politically to be able to take up such positions. Really, I mean, those appointees should have done a much better job than they have done. You avoid such instances because it kind of crowds the independence of the body, which at this point you really need it.
Clearly, it has the opinion publicly is bad for the Electoral Commission in terms of trust from the stakeholders, the public, etc. Right? And it seems to be living that action as well.
In fact, luckily, we've done a poll that is coming out on Thursday. And the poll will tell us what confidence that the public have on the EC. Let's wait and see what the public says.
Okay. When I spoke to you last week, you did a poll. Thursday, Wednesday, this is your Wednesday and Thursday. All right. And thank you, Mr. Musa Dankwa, for your thoughts this morning. I've enjoyed it. Now, no, it's not. No. Please conclude for me.
So evidently, if you look at the attitude of the Electoral Commission in all this, it will tell you clearly that the current composition of the EC is not in any way enthused about getting numbers onto the voters' roll, and that whatever they can do to limit participation of people into the voters' roll, that is what they are doing. The second important thing that I wanted to raise on this matter is something that I have said time without number.
Okay.
That when the Article 42 says that people must be of sound mind before they can register.
Let him finish.
Because they can register. And I think Article 40 is saying that if you have to be a member of the Electoral Commission, you must possess the qualification of an MP.
You should have sound mind.
You should have sound mind. I think that we should look at the soundness of mind of those who are managing the elections in this country. Because clearly, anybody with sound mind will listen to voices of dissent. That at the end of the day, you cannot be the repository of knowledge. Then I come to you, Enoch. What did Enoch say? That the EC is independent. And I keep asking, independent of what? President Akufo-Addo was elected by the people. Go and read Article 1 of the Constitution. You like referring to Constitution. Sovereignty resides in us, the people. And it is exercised in our name and for our welfare. It's in Article 1.
Then go
and
to,
so,
go to 125.
Can I make my point? So when that sovereignty is exercised, and we elect our president, and that president uses our power to come and appoint you, and the president is not independent of us, and you come and tell us that you are independent of us, there is something fundamentally wrong with soundness of mind.
Well, Engineer Obing Sikapa Kumasi says, Roland, today read my message. Else tell Bernard I love his regalia. He says, in fact, he's in his element. Bernard, you are my mentor. Okay, so...
What is
Allah is the only God. Is that not a being? Yes.
No, there's none to be worshipped except us. And so...
Okay, so we're waiting for the feed from... Please, you can also cash out. We have *439#. *439#. Take your phone and let's cash out. You are doing it for me.
Cash out.
You are doing it for me.
So, I'm not going to a demonstration.
Oh, they are
yeah,
we'll
do. We want some feed. Yeah. Now, in a
serious... see the way the police have...
This one is from
only one person driving to the...
No problem, we have the time.
The EC has taken IPAC as students and teachers
from
relationship.
We are here.
Madam Jim Mensah preaches virtue in opposition and practicing vice.
You thought we were
I'm not sure he was in opposition. She was
So from here,
Eric, and party politics is gradually knocking some brains in the country. We don't know what happens to Al Jazeera response to Gold Mafia documentary, and yet we want to occupy a private person's office for a dead and gone story. The mafia, the mafia story won't go away. As for the EC's behavior and disrespect towards Ghanaians, the judiciary should be blamed. Eric from Ashalibutre. I also have this one from Blueprint from Isikado Kitan. Says, good morning to Charles Bissiu, the incoming MP for Isikado Kitan. The losses reported by BOG are technical losses arising from the haircut and the application of accounting standards in particular, and to estimate expected credit losses over the period. Musa Abatwa, Aswanse. I posted a video on Facebook of a long queue of registrants in Ketu South. Clearly, the EC has done something wrong. Alhaji Hamza, Pig Farm. Truth be told, I wonder why Madam Jim Mensah is getting her powers from the Constitution, Hamza. She should remember she has a responsibility to facilitate and also to frustrate many. All right. Demo, you're not going for the demo?
No.
Okay. But what do you make of the demo? We'll be crossing over to the demo shop.
Oh, start from the demonstrators so that we can have a say to say
why
they are going on demo.
You are going sooner. Let me give you 2 minutes on this.
Well, first and foremost, we demanded certain things to be done. The core mandate or responsibility of the central bank. In fact, it is the last resort as far as financing of the state is concerned. And if you look at Article 183, one of the functions of the central bank was to promote our currency and maintain stability. The central bank governor is the one who is in charge of performing this responsibility. And there's no denying the fact that in terms of maintaining stability, our cedi is absolutely nothing now. Nothing in the extent that if you compare it with the other currencies. This year alone, the cedi lost value about 11.4% this year alone. Now you have a central bank governor, by their own management report and financial report, which was captured in the Auditor General's report, their own management statement, captured, they indicated that they made a loss of about 60.4 billion. 60.8 billion. That is monumental. And in fact, equity negative about 55, percent.
55.
And again, in the eyes of all these monumental losses they have made, they recklessly spent money because it simply doesn't make sense. Because of the economic circumstances that the people of this country have been subjected to by this reckless and corrupt government, people are now trying to readjust how they live their lives. Some people are now doing 2 meals a day. Others are doing 1 meal. Those of us who are already engaged in gobe, we have intensified our eating of gobe. Now, at a time when we are all being asked to sacrifice, and at a time when these losses are being reported by the governor, by the Central Bank of Ghana, they will go ahead to spend these outrageous monies. And these are not statements that were cooked by the NDC or anybody, captured in the Auditor General's report, and some of them in their management report. They spend 131 million on vehicle maintenance. Ghana cedis. What kind of vehicles? Were they using jumbo jets or Rolls Royce or Lamborghinis as vehicles? That you spend 131 million on vehicle maintenance. 97 million on foreign and domestic travels. And this is very important. At a time when the president himself said that nobody should travel, they spent that on traveling. They spent 357 million on banking supervision, as if they had the mandate of supervising all banks in Africa. Because if it has to do with supervising banks in Ghana, as a matter of fact, your regional offices have the responsibility, and those who do that are paid by the state in their salaries, that you spend about 357 million Ghana cedis banking supervision. 67 million on computer reload. What is shocking to me, 32 million Ghana cedis on communication. You are a communication expert. You have been in this industry for decades. 32 million Ghana cedis on communication. Is it that they hold press conferences and provide TNT? That's solely they even give to the media. How much is it? Is it that they provide monies, huge sums of money for people who attend Bank of Ghana's press conferences? How many press conferences did they hold for the entire year? One can say 1 or 2. And as a matter of fact, they do so when the need arises. And they have a communication department. They have a department that is tasked with the responsibility to perform public relation duty. And those who man that office are paid by the state, yet they spend 32 million Ghana cedis on communication. An undisclosed amount of 287 million and $2 million on gold watches. Now, what is shocking? That you spend about 287 million Ghana cedis and $2 million on gold watches.
Let me cross over to the venue where you'll be.
Shockingly, is the fact that they are spending $250 million to put up an office. If your children's school fees have not been paid, and you tell your children, don't go to school because I don't have money to pay your school fees. Your children are at home, and then you came home with some new car.
Well, the argument that is countered
important.
is that, a counter-argument is that the Bank of Ghana is an independent institution. That's what I've heard.
Tomorrow, they will tell us that Rebecca Akufo-Addo's office is an independent office.
No, but the Bank of Ghana is an independent.
An independent institution. Mona had already indicated, as captured in Article 1 of the 1990 Constitution.
is live at the demonstration ground.
They hold that power for and on behalf of the people of this
country. It's the Obra Sports. So we'll get the latest update. Enoch, just in case I don't come back to you. Okay. Bernard Mona as well. And then also.
That will be something.
That will be something.
There's nothing to say on it.
You see, Honorable Mutala mentioned that the Bank of Ghana is building an edifice.
What we have now,
building an office for $250 million. Roland,
you are a journalist. With nose. Oh,
Roland.
Oh, you came with already notes.
Oh,
no. She has notes. Look at
no.
I didn't see you writing.
No, don't come in. Don't come in. You see,
I've seen the notes.
In 2014, during the term of office of Dr. Kisla Tufos and then Deputy Finance Minister, the Bank of Ghana, in search of a land for the construction of this office complex, started as far back as 1990.
So you're saying the decision...
We didn't commit any money to it.
That is, you committed money to it.
You
committed money into it.
60.8 billion losses.
Mr. Kingsley,
start.
You talk about their hairs and their hands and so on. A lot of the protesters are here. They're dressed in all red, all black, in berets and so on. And the message today, or the reason for the protest really, is to ask the governor of the Bank of Ghana and his deputies to step down. I'm going to move now to talk to some of the protesters led by the minority who are here. Mr. Ejenim Boateng. So Ejenim Boateng is the deputy youth organizer for the NPP in Bunu East. NDC, I beg your pardon, in Bunu East. So what's happening today?
I want to say good morning to your viewers this morning. This morning, as you can see, people are wearing black, red, all over. We are demonstrating to show our displeasure on how the Central Bank of Ghana, that is the Bank of Ghana, has been mismanaged under the leadership of Juan Addison. And so today, if you could remember, the minority started this fight. The fight started gaining momentum. And so as we speak today, we are demanding that said Addison, who is the governor of the Bank of Ghana, must go, because he has superintended a lot of corrupt activities within the bank, a bank that is supposed to, supervise all banks in the country. In itself is corrupt under his leadership. So the minority members of parliament, the National Democratic Congress, all youth in Ghana, all well-meaning people in this country are demanding for the immediate removal of the Bank of Ghana governor. And that is what we are doing today. We want to go and occupy the Bank of Ghana to show our displeasure towards how they have mismanaged the entity and how at large Ghana has been mismanaged by the NPP government.
Okay, now the police have said that you cannot go and occupy the Bank of Ghana because it's a security zone. And so a new route has been demarcated for you to use. When you said you were going to occupy the Bank of Ghana, did you mean you will still go to the Bank of Ghana?
When we go to the river, we shall cross it. Currently, as I speak to you, the leadership of the party, the leadership of minority are in a crunch meeting, coming to tell us where we should go.
Who are they meeting with?
They are meeting themselves. The party leadership is having a tete-a-tete meeting. We want to do that. And when they come out, we will know the route to follow.
Are you engaging the police in this tete-a-tete?
I think that the police has been engaged severally over the days. And today, the will of the people is in our own hands. And our destiny is in our own hands. We have to protest to save the future of this country, now or never. And that is what we are doing.
All right, so the protest was set to start at 8 a.m. It's about 40 minutes past 8. Have you begun, or are you still waiting for more people to come?
We are still waiting for more people to come. There are people coming coming from the length and breadth of this Greater Accra region and other places. And so we are waiting for them. You know, you've witnessed demonstrations before. You wouldn't get the startup point at early as at 8 o'clock, and you expect people to move at that same time. And so we are anticipating that by 9:30 to 10, we'll get a lot of people coming on their way to come and support.
How many people are you expecting?
We are expecting over 5,000 people on the streets of Accra today. And I think that it will send a signal to the government. It will send a signal to all people in this country that we are not in normal times.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to us. So I was talking there to Ejenim Boateng. He is the regional deputy youth organizer for the NDC. And he specifically spoke about the route for the demonstration. Now, the police has told us and the protesters that the Bank of Ghana is a security zone, and so they are not allowed to bring the protest to the premises of the Bank of Ghana. He's, however, saying now that the leadership of the party is in a meeting and they will decide what to do moving on from here because they want to move to the Bank of Ghana. Hello, sir. What's your name?
Alhaji Mohammed Naziru. I'm a member of the National Communication Team of the NDC.
Amazing. Now, you're here to protest?
Yes.
All right. Now, I've just been speaking to one of your colleagues, and he tells me that even though the police has said that you cannot move to the Bank of Ghana, the leadership of your party is in a meeting now, and they are deliberating as to whether or not you want to move there. Must you necessarily move to the Bank of Ghana to make your claim or your point, put your point across?
Our demonstration is against the Bank of Ghana governor. We cannot demonstrate in a vacuum. We cannot walk and stand somewhere to assume the Bank of Ghana governor has listened to the cry of the good people of Ghana. We certainly must get to the Bank of Ghana. He must see the agitations. He must see the wailing souls in the country that are, I mean, very angry about his mismanagement and lack of, I mean, commitment to ensuring that the country's economy will sit well so that the good people of Ghana will benefit from the resources of our great country. So we must definitely go to the Bank of Ghana to let him see what is really happening in the country.
Okay, now, if the governor is watching you now, we're live on TV3 New Day, what will be your message to him?
It's very simple. Resign. Resign. The governor of Bank of Ghana must resign. He has no reason to continue to stay in office with this mess that he has created, with his lack of concern to the plight of mostly the youth of this country, who have finished, some of them just finished their national service, and they have no hope. There is nowhere to turn to. Even the national service allowances that is due them has not been paid to them. So what else do you continue to stay in office to do? The governor of Bank of Ghana has no reason to continue to be in office. He must just resign. I mean, he shouldn't have waited for this demonstration. Waiting for this demonstration to show to the Bank of Ghana our sadness, our anger is a clear show that is unconcerned with the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian.
If the governor does not resign after this protest, what will be your next steps as a party?
We will continue to agitate using every legal and democratic means to ensure our voice is heard and the right thing is done. That is what we'll continue to do.
Thank you so much for talking to us. So I've been talking to some leaders of the organizers of the protests, the NDC, and they're saying they want the Bank of Ghana to resign immediately. I beg your pardon, the biggest concern now really is the routes that the police has approved for today's protest. The protest is to begin from here, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, and move all the way through Adabraka, through the Atta Mills Highway, and then back to the Independence Square. Now, I'm joined by our lead reporter, Egbeta, on the protest. Now, you've occupied, I beg your pardon, you have reported on many protests and demonstrations in this country, as I can remember. So far, the protest was supposed to start at 8 a.m., and you've been here since. So far, what are your general observations?
Well, it's just early days yet, really, in terms of protests of this nature. The expectation is they will not start at 8 a.m. as announced, because they're waiting for a lot more individuals to come through. So when we were making our way from the office even, you could see persons dotted from across the ring road who are headed here. There have been buses who've come through as well with different groups of individuals. We must bear in mind that in the lead up to this particular protest, the leadership of the minority have gone through to meet towns. They've organized town halls successively, community engagement to seek to whip up support ahead of this protest. And the minority leader and then the minority chief whip, Governor Agboja, have all come through as well already this morning. I will be seeking to perhaps get thoughts from them as well. But they're waiting for more individuals to come through. The crowd will build up. Then perhaps there'll be a few addresses from here before they begin to move towards. the.
I think I see Atu Forson speaking here. Let's go over there and hear what he's saying.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you.
Yes, sir, if I may speak to you, there have been concerns about the direction of the police and the approved route for this demonstration. However, we are told that the leadership of your party is in a meeting now, and the agenda is whether or not you will still go to the Bank of Ghana, even though you've been asked not to come there because it's a security zone. Is this correct?
I'm not aware of a meeting with the police, but what I can assure you is that we, the NDC minority, believes that the petition must be received by the governor himself and no other person. we are going to march to the entrance of the central bank, and the leadership of the NDC minority must be allowed to see the governor at the central bank.
But you are told not to come there because it's a security zone. Will you go there anyway?
Well, the protest is just starting.
That would be flouting the Public Order Act, wouldn't it?
No, we informed the police that they should first inform us or show us where the security zone ends. And we are going to do a U-turn at the end or the beginning of the security zone.
Have they showed you that?
And it has well, if they will show us, then we are waiting for it. As we speak, they have not informed us where the security zone ends. So our position is simple. We will march with the protesters, and we hope to end at the beginning or the end of the security zone. And then the leadership of the NDC minority must be allowed into the central bank to deliver our petition.
What will you do if you are not allowed?
We will be allowed. Chief, madam, we are starting. You don't push. Let's see what happens today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, minority leader one.
All right, so Enoch, we're back, and we'll be there. We're there till the whole time when this Occupy BOG demo wraps up, and Nashoko doing some great work during that interaction. And you wanted to wrap up, Enoch?
Yeah.
So you've seen the minority leader giving government the ultimatum. President, of course, is the point.
It's sad.
What is sad?
It's sad that we are doing this to our country. Though the Bank of Ghana has made losses, central banks are not mandated to make profits. Certainly, around the world, they have a duty. And so, Bernard, you keep your composure. No, you are.
So they are mandated to make 60 billion.
With the 60 billion losses, so with the 60 billion losses, we know that per the revaluation of the CD, the debt exchange program, they suffered same 30%, and all this Telecom Malaysia bonds that has existed on their payrolls, their bonds for longer time, 2004, 2005, 2014, 2012, all these things were put together. And suffered a 50%.
So what's the argument? We're not in this alone.
Certainly, they are
COVID, Russia, Ukraine.
Certainly, we are in crisis and in emergency situations. We call that. Certainly, we must take certain drastic decisions. Okay. And with the $250 million Bank of Ghana office, Mr. Iwadakon, a prominent figure and a prospective running mate to the former President John Dramani Mahama. We don't have any prospective running mate. Kingsley Iwadakon, in 2014, offered to sell a 5.2-acre land to the Bank of Ghana for the construction of this same office at $32.5 million US. 5.2 acres land around Northridge.
Proposed
32. So if just 5-acre land.
They proposed.
The proposal was just around $30-something million.
Bernard, so you're going to the demonstration. What should we be expecting?
It's true.
Bernard, please. Bernard is the chief leader for this.
First and foremost, the demonstration will come on as planned. As you can see, some of our colleagues are already on ground.
And we'll be going there immediately after.
There is no doubt that people are certainly unhappy about the poor management of our monetary space. It is unthinkable that you'll have a governor who knows that by rule he is supposed to engage the Minister for Finance, the Controller General, for the three of them to agree if they have to exceed 5% of previous year's revenues in terms of what they can give to government. You have printed in excess of 77 billion cedis given to Minister for Finance. At the end of the day, this minister
That's not true.
is said to be owning banks in the Gambia,
That's not true.
in Liberia, and making
That's not true.
and making you sitting
70
here
billion printed. That's not true.
making you sitting here poor and hungry.
You don't have
You mean ordinary Ghanaian?
No, he in
I'm not
particular,
What
poor
makes
and
me poor?
hungry.
No, Ben,
Poor
what makes
and
me
hungry.
poor?
So you'll be going there?
Why? You can't see my
He should be
costume.
going there.
So you should be very disappointed in the Minister for Finance, in the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. You should join in
Jean
this
Mensa
matter. No.
is a big problem. The women are becoming problem.
So you should be part of this.
Dollars in
Why
my
should I?
Chris from
It's not the woman. It's just this.
Ashali Boche.
You are a hungry man.
Isaha Kutamale, did I hear the MP communicator say that all central banks are not mandated to make profit by losses? We're taking a break. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We're full time on the demonstration. We also have one of the leading contestants for the finale, Ghana's Most Beautiful, this Sunday, right here in the studio today. So we'll cover the demonstration, come to studio for the most beautiful women contestants, and we'll get to know what they think about all things TV3 and looking forward to the contest on Sunday. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Auditioning. Media General Group is hereby inviting all interested persons who aspire to become news presenters for auditioning as follows. Date: Thursday, October 5, 2023. The time is 9 a.m. Venue is at the premises of Media General Ghana.